Good day, everyone. We are the Group 6 and we are going to report the introduction to database. First is the difference between data and information. We have the difference between data and information. First, in data, it is unorganized and unrefined facts, while in information, it is processed, organized data presented in a meaningful context. Second, data is in contains raw materials which do not carry any specific meaning, while in the information, it is a group of data that collectively carries a logical meaning. Lastly, data doesn't depend on information, but the information is depending on the data. In other words, data is more on raw. Data is a collection of unstructured facts and details such as text, observations, figures, symbols, and object descriptions. While the information is that the data has been processed and structured to provide a meaningful knowledge. For example, in a research paper, data accumulated in an ordered manner delivers knowledge about specific concept or topic. So as you can see in the example, we have the example of data. We have their um, class number, their name, and then their ID number. While in the information, we have their first name and last name, their email address, the year of birth, and then their class ID, which you can see the difference between the data and information. So let's go to the different types of data. We have the qualitative and the quantitative data. In the qualitative data, it is non-numerical data. It tends to answer about the what, how, and why question. While the quantitative data, of course, it is the numerical data, and the data is in the form of questions such as how much or how many. So let's go to the history of database system. First is the ancient time. During the ancient time, the database developed by the government officials, libraries, hospitals, and business organizations. Because during those time, computers are not yet invented. Based on my research, computers are invented in the year between 1933 and 1871. That's why the database system during those time was only discovered by the government officials, library, hospital, and business organizations. Next is during 1960s. In 1960s, this is where the computerized database were developed because of the use of technology like computer. Because of computer, the data is more secure and private compared to the ancient time. And during this time, or during those time, there were two popular models, the codicil and the hierarchical model called IMS. When we say codicil, it stands for the Conference or Committee on Data System Language. The main purpose of Codicil is to guide the development of standard programming language that could be used on many computers and to promote more effective data system analysis, design, and implementation. While the IMS or stand for the Information Management System Processing, it process, provides formatting, logging and recovery of messages, maintains communication security, and oversees the scheduling and the execution of program. Let's go to the during 1970 to 1972. This is where the relational database model started and developed by Dr. E.F. Cord. He is also known as the father of database management system. So the main purpose of relational database is to provide a declarative method for specifying data inquiries. And also, relational database became the standard principle for database system during 1970 to 1972. Let's go to 1976. So since during 1970, they tend to use logical table structure. In 1976, they improved it by using ER than logical table structure. When we say ER, it stands for Entity Relationship Model. ER is describe the structure of a database with the help of diagram. So they're using diagram during 1976. An ER model is designed or blueprint of database that can later be implemented as database. And the purpose of ER is to provide a visual starting point for database design that can also be used to have determine information. And also, the goal of entity relationship is to ensure that data appears only once and capture all the required data. Next is during 1980s. Structured Query Language or SQL became the standard query language during 1980. SQL is used to communicate with a database. SQL are used to perform tasks such as update data on database or retrieve data from a database. I think that's one of the reasons why SQL became the main standard query language during 1980 because SQL will update and retrieve the data from the database. Next is during early 1990s. So during early 1990s, because of the there were a shakeout during 1970 or 1980, there were a shakeout of database. And because of the database too during 1980s, um after the shakeout, database industry leads to sell them complex database products at high price. And also, they release an application development like Oracle Developer, Power Builder, VB, and others. And also, they also release a personal productivity like ODBC and Excel. Excel, we are using it up to now. Excel was created during 1987 and we are still using it up to now 2022. So next is during 1990, the advent of the internet led to exponential growth of the database industry. The explosive growth of the World Wide Web was the major event of the 1990s. The World Wide Web database were used in a far greater numbers than ever or compared to the ancient time up to the 1970s or 1980s. Database system has now have to support extremely high transaction processing rates. They need to have an excellent reliability. Why? Because they need to be available for 24/7 or 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, meaning there's no time for maintenance activities. That's why they need to have an excellent reliability. Also, during 1990s, online transaction processing and online analytic processing also began to mature as a result of the expanded use of point scale of technologies. Next is 2000. Even though internet industry experienced a huge decline during early 2000s, the applications are still continuing to grow. They develop new interactive applications for PDAs, transaction, and consolidation of vendors. And also, Microsoft, IBM, and Oracle are the three leading data companies in the Western world during those times. Let's go to the today of the database. As of today, database are such a huge help to our daily life. It makes our life easy. And also, several novel distributed data storage system has built to handle the data management requirements of a very large websites such as Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo, which we are currently using as of today, especially the Facebook and the Google.
So, good morning guys. My topic for today is the advantages of database over spreadsheets. So, I will give a additional knowledge about database and spreadsheet. First, a database is a program that organizes data into fields and records, while spreadsheet is a program that stores data in a grid of rows and columns, allowing for calculation and the generation of graphs. So, both database and spreadsheet are used by businesses, schools, and other organizations to organize, store, and use data. While both are valuable tools, a database has several advantages over spreadsheet. Now, we have the advantages of database over spreadsheet. First is the data qualify check. A data qualify check is the database allows for certain variables to be set as the only possible entries. So, sabihin na natin ng tanging option natin is ang male and female only. So, kung mag-input tayo ng LNA is hindi to tatanggapin ng database ang data na yon. So, ang spreadsheet is allowing value categories such as the numbers but not the customization of the database. So, the next one is the integration of data. The integration of data is a database by the default. It's allow the data from multiple sources to be integrated into one database. So, the data from multiple application and resources can be integrated into fields so that the data from all sources is organized and searchable. So means na pwede mo isama ang data mula sa maraming application at source into field para madali mahanap at maayos ang isang data sa source. So next is the resource efficiency. The resource efficiency is a spreadsheet is stored in a computer's random access memory while it is being used. So this is the problem if the spreadsheet contains extremely large amount of data. A database only has to load the data being worked with into the RAM, meaning only parts of the large database are used at any given time. So next is the user efficiency. The user efficiency is a database can be programmed to display data based on a user's need. So, halimbawa nito is ang database ng pasyente ay maaari magpakita ng medical na kasaysayan sa isang doktor at data ng pagsingil sa isang receptionist. So, ang spreadsheet ito is it display all data making specific information more difficult to locate. So, the cost efficiency. The cost efficiency is a database is more efficient in use when compared to large spreadsheets. So, the efficiency allows less time spent on tasks and fewer mistakes. This translates into savings in man hours and accuracy for a business as its employees are more productive and efficiency. So, the last one is the growth efficiency. Um, Growth efficiency. As a data entered into a spreadsheet, the overall size of this spreadsheet increases much faster than a comparable database. As more and more information is entered there, there are a appreciable differences in the time it takes to generate reports, graphs, and data access over a network. So next is the advantages and disadvantages of normalizing a database. So first, a normalizing a database means to design the database structure to store data in a logical and related way. It is usual for all database to be normalized, and normalizing a database has a advantages and disadvantages. First is a reduced data duplication. A reduced data duplication is a database can hold a significant amount of information, perhaps millions or billions of pieces of data. Normalizing a database reduces its size and prevents data duplication. So it ensures that each piece of data is stored only once. So next is the group data logically. A group data logically is a application developers who create applications to talk or to a database find it easier to deal with a normalized database. The data they access is organized more logically in a normalized database, often similar to the way in which the real-world objects that the data represent are organized. So that makes the developer's application easier to design, write, and change. So the next one is the enforce referential integrity on data. So the referential integrity is the enforcement of relationships between data in joint tables. So without referential integrity, the data in a table can lose its link to other tables where related data is held. So this leads to orphaned and inconsistent data in tables. So a normalized database with joins between tables can prevent this from happening. So the next one is the slows database performance. So a highly normalized database with many tables and joins between the tables is slower than a database without those attributes. So many people using a normalized database at the same time. It also can slow down the database speed. So in some cases, a certain amount of denormalization of the database may be required to improve a database speed. So the last one is the requires detailed analysis and design. So this normalizing a database is a complex and difficult task. Large database with considerable amounts of information such as ones run by banks required careful analysis and design before they are normalized. Knowing the intended use of a database such as whether it be optimized for reading data, writing data, or both. Also, it affects how it's normalized. A poorly normalized database may perform badly and store data inefficiently. So the next one is the advantages and disadvantages of computerized database. So this database allowed the storage and retrieval of large amounts of information. So before computers, databases were limited in size by the physical constraints. The computerized database have removed those handcuffs, enabling a seemingly endless amount of digital data to be stored. So before purchasing or using a database, consider the advantages and disadvantages of such usage. The first one is the ease of storage. The ease of storage database, it makes it easier for you to enter and store data because the type of data stored can range from customer information to personal material such as a catalog of books or movies. The database allows you to automate the storage of this data. After you have set up a database to collect whatever information you wish stored, the collection process becomes streamlined. So, by investing a small amount of time configuring a database, you can save large amount of time in data entry. So, the next one is the information retrieval and security. So, storing and organizing information in a computerized database makes that information more easily accessible. Unlike using a file cabinet, database, or library that user can simply type a query into database management software and have the result delivered quickly. So the database can also be secured against unwanted access because databases can use security features such as a data encryption and password protection for you to avoid the possibility of information breaches. The next one is the complexity. So the complexity is a computerized database or complex application. Means that they require a great deal of programming knowledge to create. Due to the variety of the data that might be stored in a database, any such application must be custom made to suit that particular type. So the programs often require specialized hardware and software to work. Because of this complexity, the database software can prove expensive to create and purchase, and it should a database become damaged because transferring the contained data can be difficult or impossible. So the last one is the incidental cost. Incidental cost. By choosing to use a database, you may incur incidental costs. Not only must you purchase the database application itself and any required hardware, you must learn to use it. Kasi kung magpapatakbo ka ng negosyo o business, dapat mo bayaran yung training ng employees mo. Because this training might entail hiring instructions, sending employees to classes, or even have them learn on the job. No matter how you choose to train them or yourself, you lose the time put into training and the money that could have been made in that time. So that's all my report, and thank you for listening.
A database management system, or DBMS, is system software for creating and managing databases. A database management system makes it possible for end users to create, protect, read, update, and delete data in a database. The most prevalent type of data management platform is the database management system. It is served as an interface between databases and end users or application programs, ensuring that data is consistently organized and remains easily accessible. So what does database management system do? The database management system allows data to be accessed, locked, and modified. And database schema defines the database's logical structure. Database management system helps to provide concurrency, security, data integrity, and uniform data administration procedures. Database management system supports include change management, performance monitoring and tuning, security, and backup and recovery. Most database management systems are also responsible for automated rollbacks and restarts, as well as logging and auditing of activity in databases and applications that access them. Why to learn database management system? Because database management system was a new concept that can make it overcome the deficiencies in traditional style of data management. Components of database management system. Database management system is a sophisticated piece of system software that consists of multiple integrated components that deliver a consistent managed environment for creating, accessing, and modifying data in databases. This, these components include the following. First is a storage engine. This basic element of a database management system is used to store data. The database management system must interface with a file system at the operating system level to store data. It can use additional components to store data or interface with the actual data at the file system level. Next is metadata catalog, sometimes called a system catalog or database dictionary. A metadata catalog functions as repository of all the database objects that have been created. And when databases and other objects are created, the database management system automatically registers information about it in the metadata catalog. The database management system uses this catalog to verify user requests for data, and users can query the data catalog for the information about the database structures that exist in the database management system. The metadata catalog can include information about database objects, schemas, programs, security, performance, communication, and other environmental details about the databases it manages. Next is database access language. The database management system also must provide an API to access the data, typically in the form of database access language. This is used to access and modify data, but may be also used to create database objects and to secure and authorize access to the data. Next is optimization engine. A database management system may also provide an optimization engine. It is used to parse database access language requests and turn them into actionable commands for accessing and modifying data. Next is lock manager. This crucial component of the database management system manages concurrent access to the same data. Locks are required to ensure multiple users that are not trying to modify the same data simultaneously. Next is log manager. The database management system records all changes made to data managed by the database management system. The record of changes is known as the log, and the log manager component of the database management system is used to ensure that log records are made efficiently and accurately. The database management system uses the log manager during shutdown and startup to ensure data integrity, and it interfaces with database utilities to create backups and run recoveries. Data utilities. A database management system also provides a set of utilities for managing and controlling database activities. Examples of database utilities include reorganization, run stats, backup and copy, recover, integrity check, load data, unload data, and repair database. Modern database management system has the following characteristics. First, real-world entity. A modern database management system is more realistic and uses real-world entities to design its architecture. It uses the behavior and attributes too. For example, a school database may use a student as an entity and their age and name as an attribute. Next is relation-based tables. Database management system allows entities and relations among them to form tables. A user can understand the architecture of a database just by looking at the table names. Next is isolation of data and application. A database system is entirely different than its data. A database is an active entity, whereas data is said to be passive, on which the database works and organizes. Database management system also stores metadata, which is data about data, to ease its own process. Next is less redundancy. Database management system follows the rules of normalization, which splits a relation when any of its attributes is having redundancy in values. Normalization is a mathematically rich and scientific process that reduces data redundancy. Next is consistency. Consistency is a state where every relation in a database remains consistent. There exist methods and techniques which can detect a time of leaving database in inconsistent state. A database management system can provide greater consistency as compared to earlier forms of data storing applications like file processing system. And last is query language. A database management system is equipped with query language, which makes it more efficient to retrieve and manipulate data. A user can apply as many and as different filtering options as required to retrieve a set of data. Traditionally, it was not possible where file processing system was used. Applications of database management system. Database is a collection of related data, and data is collection of facts and figures that can be processed to produce information. Mostly data represents recordable facts. Data aids in producing information, which is based on facts. For example, if we have data about marks obtained by all students, we can then conclude about toppers and average marks. And database management system stores data in such a way that it becomes more easier to retrieve, manipulate, and produce information. Following are the important characteristics and applications of database management system. First is ACID properties. Database management system follows the concepts of atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. These concepts are applied on transactions which manipulate data in a database. ACID properties help the database stay healthy in multi-transactional environments and in case of failure. Next is multi-user and concurrent access. Database management system supports multi-user environment and allows them to access and manipulate data in parallel. Though there are restrictions on transactions when users attempt to handle the same data item, but users are always unaware of them. Next is multiple views. Database management system offers multiple views for different users. This feature enables the users to have a concentrate view of the database according to their requirements. And lastly is security. Features like multiple views offer security to some extent where users are unable to access data of other users and departments. Database management system offers method to impose constraints while entering data into the database and retrieving the same at a later stage. Database management system offers many different levels of security features, which enables multiple users to have different views with different features. For example, a user in the sales department cannot see the data that belongs to the purchase department. Additionally, it can also be managed how much data of the sales department should be displayed to the user. Since a database management system is not saved on the disk as traditional file system, it is very hard for miscreants to break the code. That's all.